Hey friends, this is Mark Suroviec, host of the Workplace Solutions podcast, inviting you to discover the joy of work. All right, I think we're good, Rhonda.
Good.
How are you feeling today?
Feeling great. Ready to go. Episode 3. Here we come.
Episode 3. Not the best Star Wars, but that's fine. George Lucas, if you are listening, I'm sorry, but the third one wasn't great. Yeah, that shows, if we win a podcasty, then maybe George Lucas will be listening, but I doubt it.
And then he's just going to clap for us. Hooray, look at them.
Yeah, so Rhonda, what's going on in your world?
Life. Life is happening fast these days, all around. So yeah, just busy.
Well, we are here for episode 3. What is facilitation and why should I care? All right. I love that. All right. So Rhonda, what questions are we going to be answering in this podcast?
So today we're going to look at a couple things, actually. We're going to look at what is facilitation, who is a facilitator, what do facilitators do, and if you don't have experiential learning for a living, or if you don't do it for a living, why should you even care?
I love that. That's probably my favorite one. And I anticipate that this will be a multi-part episodes, part A, part B, or part 1, part 2, part alpha, part beta.
That's
whatever.
a lot of information to be in one episode.
Yeah, so I think we're going to split this conversation into multiple episodes, but we're starting here. All right, so as we start always, we're going to do a icebreaker question, which I have not prepared Rhonda in advance.
I just wish you'd give me a little heads up on these.
That's some of the fun of it, at least for me. All right, so the icebreaker question is, if you could create an app that could do anything and wasn't bound by your understanding of technology or physics or computers, but it could do anything, what would you create an app to do? And also, what would you call it?
First of all, thank you for not having to use technology knowledge with that, because that's where I have a shortcoming, if you will. So if I could create an app, my app would do all the things in my life that I really don't want to do. Well, it's not that I don't want to do them. It's just time consuming. So my app would call in the automatic grocery list, start the Roomba going when it's supposed to, and make sure that all the laundry and stuff is zippity doo dah into the washing machine, out of the washing machine. So I'm going to call it Do It All, Baby.
I love it. I would definitely buy your app. All right, for me, I think my app would be the Lit Box, which
wait, Lit L-I-T?
L-I-P.
Lip Box.
Lit Box.
Okay.
And what the Lit Box does is after you say something stupid, it pauses time, rewinds time 5 seconds, and gives you a do-over. So let's say you approach someone and say, "When's the baby due?" I'm not pregnant. Rewind. Lit Box. Hey, how you doing today? You look delightful.
That was a good one.
Yeah, so
Lip Box.
I would buy the Lit Box in a heartbeat. If anyone knows astrophysics or quantum mechanics enough to create this, I will be your first subscriber.
You
customer.
get your lips. I'm getting more like George Jetson kind of stuff. Huh?
So unfortunately, the Lit Box cannot be used to win the lottery or reverse elections or anything like that. Just controlling the last 5 seconds of, or I guess up to 30 seconds if you have the paid subscription to the Lit Box.
Oh, there you go. I like that.
Yeah, to rewind what you said and have a do-over.
But here's the deal, though. So what if it's you've said something really, really off-color? The Lip Box says, "Can't fix that, dude." And you have a paid subscription. You'd be like,
oh man, I want my
my money back.
I want my money back. Oh man. Yeah, if all we did was have an episode of times we needed the Lit Box, that would be fun. And not helpful to anyone, but
fun.
But a lot of fun. So, Rhonda, what I was thinking about, kind of transition, that in our previous episodes, we jumped right into this idea of inside the mind of a facilitator. And because my brain does not work like everyone else's brain, I think, or at least I've been told, I tend to start in the middle of things because everything is a relationship and non-linear. And I think of kind of these webs and how things are connected. So because of that, I think we kind of skipped ahead too far by saying, hey, what do facilitators need to do before a group arrives? And take a couple steps back and define some terms. So can you ask us kind of what our first question is?
Yeah, I like that. We did scoot ahead quite a bit, but I like coming back because now I have a picture and now we can come back to the specifics. And one of the things we're talking about is, what is facilitation, Mark?
Fantastic. All right, so facilitation, and this is my definition, or I should say the official definition of workplace solutions. And I'm open to evolving this definition of time over time, but this is kind of the summation of about 20 years of facilitation experience. So facilitation is the art and science of skillfully using the techniques and principles of experiential learning to help a group of people reach their goal. So I'll say that again. The art and science of skillfully using the techniques and principles of experiential learning to help a group of people reach their goals. And so for folks who don't have a background in experiential learning, we will cover the basics of experiential learning in a future episode. All right, so let's break. Oh, go ahead, Rhonda.
No, go ahead. I was just, that's perfect. Go ahead.
Were you going to say let's break down that definition?
Well, I was, but.
It is hard for me to turn off my facilitator hat. We just had some technical difficulties. We were videoing the podcast just for fun and get some feedback, and the camera mount fell over. But the video is still going. Oh, man.
It'll be the black tablecloth that you're going to see.
That is one strike against our podcasty award. Oh, man.
Oh, no.
If you are the International Federation of Podcast Awards, please don't hold this against us. That's probably not a real.
No, we're going to get the real award because we just kept on moving.
We kept on rolling.
Yes, keep it going. Yes. Here we go.
I love it. Own your stuff. All right. So yeah, let's break that down. If you're still with us, we're talking about facilitation.
We're still having fun.
Yeah, we're still having fun. So let's break that down. So when we're saying the art and science of skillfully using the techniques and principles of experiential learning to help a group of people, we're talking about any environment. This isn't limited to the ropes course or a meeting or a conference room or an experiential learning event. This can be anywhere. So it doesn't matter whether you're indoors, outdoors, on the top of a mountain, in a life-sucking cubicle farm. The principles are the same. They're transferable. All right, so any environment, doesn't matter. Any set of goals. So one of the key aspects of facilitation is that the facilitator is driving the goals of the group forward. And that's one of the key differences between a facilitator and a teacher or an instructor or a manager, is that it's not the facilitator's goals that are moving forward. It's the goals of the group. Sometimes those goals are overt. Sometimes those goals are not overtly stated. The facilitator is guiding things in such a way that, yeah, there's going to be some principles that you don't break. We're not going to do things that are incredibly dangerous and cause somebody to die. Like, that's facilitator. That would be unethical. But in general, the goals of the facilitator don't matter, or I should say, are more about what the group is actually trying to accomplish. Okay? And any group of people. So it does not matter whether you're talking about, hey, I am a camp counselor leading kids through the spider web and the zip line at Camp Joe Schmo, which I hope isn't a real camp, or I guess we'll have to
figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I need to come up with some fake camp names just for fun.
Better one than that.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, folks. That was not fantastic improv. But the group of people is there for a temporary time period and they are trying to achieve some sort of goal. And if you remember in our last episode, we talked about the 4 primary reasons that folks come do experiential learning programming. The idea is the group has goals, or the group leader has goals, and the facilitator is there to help them meet their goals.
So what you're saying basically is that the facilitator is there to help the group, any group, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter how, doesn't matter who the people are, move forward with their ideas. That the facilitator is really there as the backdrop, if you will, helping them move forward. Is that kind of put it in a capsule?
Absolutely. You are a guide. You are in the hero's journey, the person coming alongside the hero who helps the hero make their realization that they should tackle whatever the challenge is in the hero's journey, or that kind of thing. So you are not the actual hero. You are not the person who's the focal point of attention, which is a facilitation. Removing yourself as the focal point is a technique we'll talk about later. But this idea of the facilitator's there to meet the goals of the group. And the facilitator's goals are pretty standard. It's to help the group meet their goals and to provide a quality experience and manage risk.
Perfect.
Okay.
I like the way you summarize that. So if that's the case, and that's what facilitation is about, who is a facilitator?
Oh, I love that. So who is a facilitator is any neutral party that uses facilitation to help the group meet their goals.
So define neutral?
So in this case, I think we've started to speak to this, but the idea of the facilitator does not have a vested interest in particular outcomes. Yes, the facilitator wants to see the group be successful in reaching their goals, but they're not necessarily setting the goals for the group. And I would say the exception to that is when the group is so unhealthy or a mess that they are incapable of doing so, and the goal then becomes, hey, how do we show each other that we are human beings and not treat each other like dirt? Okay, yeah, I'll set that goal as a facilitator.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good goal. It's a hefty, but it's a good one.
Yeah, a facilitator friend of mine who's been doing this for years and years and years said that one time that whenever he works with a middle school audience, that's pretty much, hey, if they find out that that there are other people in the world and they are not the center of the world, and they should treat those other people with respect, or at least know that they're around, then he's done his job. And,
yes.
I tend to agree. Not that the kids can't learn stuff, because they can. Right? Yeah. So that neutral. So the facilitator may have opinions. Those opinions may run contrary to some of the decisions that you make. One of the situations I've come across, and a lot of facilitators have come across, is when the group has a different faith system or religion than what you practice or don't practice, and it's challenging for the facilitator to not want to insert their beliefs and values into that conversation in an inappropriate way. Right.
And that can be to the detriment of the group too. I think that's the thing that the facilitator has to remember the most, is that their facilitation style is to help the group move forward. So their facilitation thoughts, personal thoughts, will not enhance that in most cases. You really have to have a feel for what's going on.
And in a vacuum, a facilitator has good knowledge of what health looks like, of what good communication looks like, of what leadership looks like. So there are plenty of instances where it is appropriate to bring some of those principles to bear. And actually, that's one in those discovery programs, one of the things they're paying you to do. But in general, the point we just want to hammer in right here is that they don't have a vested interest in the decision. And where that matters is things like strategic planning or brainstorming or those kind of sessions if you are in more of an office and a corporate environment. So those facilitators, you might have an idea, oh, that sounds great, but and the group selects the thing that you think is dumb. That's fine. You are supporting them to their end and outcome. And
what we look at as dumb is really important to them too. I think that's the other level that we need to be cognizant on as a facilitator, that we have our own vision and the peripheral edges maybe where the group is at.
Okay. All right, Rhonda, what's our next question?
Well, Mark, after we've kind of decided who the facilitator is, it makes sense that we would describe who the facilitator is not.
Okay. So who is not a facilitator? A group member or someone who has power over the group or has a vested interest in the specific action or the course of action that a group needs to take. So, for example, a manager. Can a manager be a facilitator? And the answer is sort of, and sometimes. As my good friend Scott Conant likes to say, well, it depends. Yeah. So a manager can take on the temporary role of a facilitator. In order to do that, she needs to declare that she is stepping out of her manager role and laying down her role power for that conversation or meeting. And even then, it's difficult because the manager can never truly take off the manager hat 100%, because it'll always be there glaring on the forehead. You are the manager, you have role power, you can fire me, you can discipline me, and that is hard for direct reports to forget. It's almost impossible, even if you have a good, trustworthy relationship with your manager. This is one of the reasons that we recommend for important meetings like strategic planning or annual goal setting, you conduct it by an outside facilitator, because even a manager or leader or vice president or whoever is that role power person in the room, it is very hard for them to truly be a facilitator and take that power out of play. So, fun aside here, this was a principle that we thought was very important in my previous organization. And so I bought my former manager, Eric, a manager hat. And this thing was ugly. It was like one of those hats that you would see like your great grandfather wear on a cruise ship, that just was, with an ugly font and just said, something in real big letters, and it was bright pink font, and it said manager in giant letters. But Eric understood this principle, and he would take it to the two meetings. For example, a brainstorming meeting. He would say, literally, so he would put that hat on and then take it off and say, just so that our ideas have equal weight, I'm taking off my manager hat. So I'm not representing the organization at this time. I am a co-equal during this time. And we trusted Eric, and yeah, the whole hat thing was corny and silly, but it was a visual of that reality. And it kind of reminds me of that scene from The Office where Michael Scott is like, I declare bankruptcy. and Oscar just calls him out, you just saying it doesn't mean
doesn't make it real.
He's like, I didn't say it, I declared it. But we're big fans of The Office for more reasons than one. But this idea of, we had a symbol in our meetings to reinforce that truth. For that time period, Eric is purposely laying down his authority so that we can, in a safe environment, all be equal in our ideas. And in that brainstorming session, it worked. Now, I don't think this would actually work for every team, because one of the things that idea presupposes is that the manager is trusted enough by his or her people to actually lay down the power and not pick it up again in that meeting, or to not come back at someone who said something in the meeting when they disagreed with their idea. There are plenty of petty managers out there. So
yeah, that's a very important one. Trust. So personally, I, as a manager, would not want to take my hat off. I'd rather have an outside facilitator come in, because I know the bias is gone then, and nobody can later look and say, you had your hat off then, but now you're bringing this up again. There's a lot of things I see that if you don't have to do that, hire a facilitator.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a proverb that says a prophet has no honor in their hometown. And it is so true sometimes. Rhonda, we're already at 22 minutes.
Do this. Well, we have a lot to cut out of this, too.
We do. Yeah. Do you want to pause here and make episode and episode 3. I'm blanking on what the 4 are called, so we'll definitely... Yeah, the lip box. Oh, man, if only we had the lip box now.